Angry guy here. And women now own nothing and are furious. Women now own nothing and are furious. Let's go ahead and talk more about this today because it's really intriguing what is happening with women. I talked about this many years ago, as you can see on the screen. This is a topic that really goes back some time. Young Greek women are selling love in physical intimacy for the price of a sandwich, new study shows. This was an actual study that was done back in 2015. And for those of you that have been following me for a long time, I've talked about this a number of times. And here it is. This actually came from the Washington Post. 2015 was literally just 8 years ago. Well, we're almost heading into 2014 now. So yeah, it's going to be very 9 years soon. But guys, think about this. Young Greek women are selling physical intimacy, so love, for the price of a sandwich, as 6 years of painful austerity have pushed the European country to the financial brink, a new study showed Friday. The study, which compiled data on more than 17,000 physical intimacy workers operating in Greece, found that Greek women now dominate the country's ladies of the night or evening delight industry, as Mayumi likes to call them, replacing Eastern European women. And the evening delights on sale in Greece are some of the cheapest on offer in Europe. Some women just do it for a cheese pie or sandwich. They need to eat because they are hungry. Gregory Laxos, a sociology professor at Pantheon University in Athens, told the London Times newspaper. Others do it to pay taxes, bills, for urgent expenses, or a quick fix, said Laxos, who conducted a 3 year study. When the economic crisis in Greece began, the going rate for physical intimacy with an evening delight was 50 euros, which translates to 53 United States dollars. The London newspaper quotes Laxos as saying now it's fallen to as low as 2 euros, which is equivalent to, oh my gosh, to two to $2.12 for a 30-minute session. Y'all, $2.12 for a 30-minute session. So all these years I was actually quoting it as 3 euros, and but it was actually 2 euros. And back then, there back then a lot of the MGTOWs, because I was a part of the Migglypuff community, they actually said that they said it was I there were I guess there were different reports because we were quoting it as 3 euros, and a lot of the Migglypuff said that that was 2 euros too many. A lot of y'all said that that's supposed to be 1 euro. That's that's guys. The Migglypuff community was wicked back in those days. There was some real wicked dudes, some real evil dudes, real evil dudes in that community, man. Real wicked dudes in that community. They literally said, I read that and it said here it says 2 euros, but back then it said 3 euros, and or at least the report I read from said 3 euros, and some of y'all are still around, and y'all are some evil dudes. If you're listening still, y'all some evil dudes, because I quoted 3 euros, and many of y'all said that it was 2 euros too many. 2 euros is too many, and you wouldn't pay more than 1 euro. And I believe you. I truly believe some of y'all with your wicked hearts. Jesus, y'all, 2 euros too many. 2 euros too many. dude, it's the cost of a cheese sandwich. And some of y'all like, it's not my job to feed her. It's not my job to feed her. Oh my gosh. Laxo said the sum 400 such desperate cases he found may be nominal compared with the thousands of other love workers or evening delights operating nationwide, but they never existed as a trend until the financial crisis. He said Greek women now account for 80% of the evening delights trade in Greece. And what's intriguing about this, what I find truly very, very intriguing about this, guys, is the fact that many of you may not know they were also men, young boys, they were also teenage boys, teenage men doing this stuff, that were putting it out there, that had it on sale. And it's one of those things that you have to just wake up to and realize. You have to understand that this is the reality of things. Like, this is the world we live in. It's not a joke. It is absolutely not a joke. I'm telling you guys, it's something else. It's really, really something else what's going on. And that's what we will see in Western society. This is what we will see in America. You know, a lot of these women, these are girls who've never missed a meal a day in their life. They don't know what it means to actually be hungry. When I put on these videos of women who are like in the streets, and they're like, they're saying that they can't, like, they chose the streets and the streets are calling out to them. One thing that we never really discuss a lot of is the fact that these women are on the streets and they're still well fed. They're on the streets and they're not hungry. If they're super skinny, it's because they've got the dragon. They've got the dragon, you know, or it's because of the substances that they've been on, a variety of different reasons, but it's not because they're hungry. You'll see a lot of these women on the streets, and if there's one thing that these women are, it's well fed. So someone's feeding them. Someone is feeding these women. They're in the streets, but they're well fed. And I want y'all to wake up to that, because these are girls who don't miss a meal. Some of these girls, they'll tell you straight up, like, they're homeless, but all they do is eat all day. They're in the streets and all they do is eat all day, because everyone's providing food for them. And a lot of them are, like they say, like, they're in the streets by choice. Like, oh, they had an apartment that was being completely paid for and everything was nice, but they had to get off. They just left it and went right back to the streets. And then when they returned, they said they were told that it's no longer available for them. Of course, it's not available for you anymore. You had an apartment that was being provided for you, and you basically took off and went right back to the streets, and then thought that you were going to come back and do whatever you wanted to do. Because you went back into the streets, you were doing your illicit substances, and then you want to come back off the streets and play around and mess around? No, find out. This is the lifestyle of these women. This is the absolute lifestyle that these women are living. But the crazy thing is that when hunger sets in, the moment that things change in Western society, and suddenly it's hard to get access to food, and that's really what's going to come. That's how they're going to control people, with food. The moment that women can no longer get access to food, their their brains are going to take over, and they will do whatever it takes to eat. Okay, just like how these women in Greece were, you know, they were selling it for, well, in this case, €2, but it used to be €3. All right, it was €3, but here guys can see that it was $2.12. So basically $2, guys. They were selling it for two. They're selling it for $2. All right, $2, and it's crazy. It's crazy because that's the result of hunger. When hunger sets in, when you are hungry and you are starving, you will do whatever it takes to eat. Your brain will your brain will make you spend money that you don't have. This is why people are wasting all this money on DoorDash, and why McDonald's keep on raising prices, because people are hungry. People are hungry. A lot of people no longer cook or can cook, So they are forced to pay these fast food restaurants these exorbitant amounts of money for food. And when people can no longer afford food, when women can no longer have access to food, when it becomes harder to gain access to food for these women, and this is what's coming, one way or another, with this inflation or what, it's coming. When these women can no longer gain access to food, that's when you're going to see the most insane of sane things. And the media will do one of two things. Either they'll start talking about how awful the situation is for women, or they'll start saying how wonderful things are in Western society, just like they're doing now, and pretend that everything is good. If you notice, right now, the media is saying like, oh, the inflation is not rising as fast as it was before. Inflation is horrible right now, and it's still going up. McDonald's is risen. McDonald's has brought up their prices, they said, by 10% this year. It's a lot more than 10%. I'll tell you that right now. They're lying. And all these other companies, Burger King, Wendy's, everyone else is also doing it. McDonald's is no longer cheap food. It is super expensive. Like it's literally the same to go to a nice restaurant now and buy food versus McDonald's. Like that's how bad McDonald's is. That's how bad McDonald's is. And they're like, oh well, and I mean, if you buy from McDonald's, at least you don't have to tip. Bro, you do have to tip because most people are using food delivery services. So the difference between going to a restaurant and eating at a restaurant and eating at McDonald's, it's either the same or it's even more expensive, or it's even more expensive than McDonald's in some cases now. Because you go to a restaurant and you tip these people, let's say 20%, right? And McDonald's, you go to you order from McDonald's, you order, let's say, $30 in food from McDonald's, or 35 or or $40 worth of food from McDonald's, and you still end up between the service fee and delivery fee, you end up spending more than 20% of your order. So it's either the same as going to a nice restaurant and eating out, or ordering from McDonald's. And if you go into the restaurant and go into a McDonald's and buy your food there, I mean, you'll save a little bit of money. But who wants to really put up with all that nonsense and go fight with these people in there? Because you see like the craziest and creepiest things in these places now. I'm gonna tell y'all, for those of y'all that have never been to New York City, I grew up in New York City. That's where I grew up in New York City. I'll tell you, you see the craziest things in New York City, and it's just like not a nice place. Like guys, stay away from places like New York. Stay away from places like Boston. Boston is just like a crappier version of New York. The Boston accent is just like a crappier version of the New York accent. It sounds absolutely horrible. there's always been that rivalry between New York and Boston because they suck. For any of my Boston listeners, you guys are jerks. You guys are jerks. You're jerks. You're jerks. And your accent's ugly. But yeah. But yeah, guys, yeah. Women now own nothing and are furious. I think I'm going to talk more about this in another video because I enjoyed this topic and I didn't even get through the entire article. But yeah, guys, I want to know what you think in the comments. Let's talk about more of it there because this is such an very intriguing topic. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWM and walking away. And cheers.